All right, what's up, everyone? This video, let's talk about what should we talk about? We're going to talk about exercises being mandatory, and I don't think any exercise really, any specific movement or exercise is mandatory, but exercise itself is mandatory. At least it should be. And most people say they're not consistent. They're not making progress. They're not getting the gains. They're not building that lean athletic body they want. They're not losing body fat. They're not building muscle. It's because you look at exercise and training as just some hobby, something you can just show up to every once in a while and, oh, I'll do this when I feel like it. No, you can't do that if you want to ultimately be a healthy individual, be an athlete for life. You need to start treating training, exercise, movement as something mandatory and non-negotiable that you do every day. And that's not, again, when I say every day, that doesn't mean you need to go max out squat every day. This just means move your damn body. Move a little bit. That's exercise, that's training. Move your body every day and have some higher intensity days where you're lifting heavy, you're sprinting, you're jumping, all that fun stuff. And then some days where you just go for a walk or do some yoga or move your body a little bit, play with the kids, that type of stuff. But once you start looking at it as mandatory, it's gonna be more. You're gonna be more consistent with it. You got to go to work, so you don't skip work unless you're like sick or whatever, in a car accident, whatever it may be. But you don't skip work. You go to school, you don't skip school. I guess a lot of kids skip school, but you take a shower. Those things. I mean, hopefully anyway. If not, you probably stinking up the place and people aren't coming within arm's width of you. These things that you do every day, you brush your teeth, that type of stuff. That's stuff that you do. It's mandatory to you. You pay your bills, that type of stuff. These things are mandatory. What if we started looking at training and movement the same way? It's mandatory. I have to do this. Do you think you'd be a little bit more consistent with it? Probably. It's not a group class where you just, I just sign up for one group class. I'm going to stop in and see what it's all about. And then maybe in 3 more weeks I'll show up again. Or, once a month. No, it's not that. It's doing it, and it's not just showing up. Anyone can show up. That's the easy part. You got to do the work. It's making it mandatory. Again, no exercise. You don't have to squat. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to jump. You don't have to throw. Should you do all those things? Yes. You don't have to barbell back squat. You don't have to barbell deadlift. Can those things be super beneficial? Yes. Don't have to bench press. Can bench press be great? Yes. All these exercises are great. There are some dumb exercises, yes. But no specific exercise or movement is mandatory. But the act of exercise and training itself, if you ultimately want to live your best life, be able to play with your kids without pain, be able to get through a workday without falling asleep, be able to have the energy to go on the bike ride or go on that vacation or hang out with the friends and that type of stuff. Do all the things you want without pain, with energy. Then exercise needs to become mandatory. It needs to become something that is you just do. It can take time, yes. Just like any habit, you got to start small and build on that. Start with a couple, maybe if you aren't doing anything, heck, maybe just going for a daily walk is your starting point. Boom, you build on that and you're starting to feel good. You're moving a little better. Your joints don't ache as much. You have a little bit more energy. You're sleeping better. Then that builds. I want to start eating better. I'm doing that. That's another habit I'm working on. And then I'm eating better. I'm feeling better. Moving better. Let's start strength training. So you start 2 times a week. And boom, just like that, you are building these habits, and exercise is ultimately becoming something you don't skip. You don't miss out on. You're a little bit tired or you're a little fatigued. You can still do something. But my buddies are going to make fun of me because I don't want to go out and drink and party anymore. Who cares? If that's more important than your health, Go party, I guess. You got to figure out what you really want. That's another issue too, is figuring out what you really want. And I'm not saying you can't do those things too, but if you're just always doing that other stuff, making that stuff mandatory, but you're skipping your exercising, you're skipping your training, you're never doing any of that stuff, you're never moving, and then you wonder why. Why am I still fat? Why am I not losing weight? Why do I have no energy? Why am I sleeping like crap? It's because it's not mandatory. You need to make exercise mandatory. You need to make eating well mandatory. You need to make sleeping mandatory. These are things that should become mandatory, become a priority, become those non-negotiable things that you want in your life if you ultimately want to be an athlete for life. And if you don't, then that's totally fine too. That's your choice. If you choose to be unhealthy, overweight, lack of energy, that's fine. That's your life. You do what you want with your life. I'm just trying to tell you that the people who always complain about, oh, I can't make any progress, I'm not seeing any results, why can't I lose this belly fat? It's because you don't make these things mandatory. It's not part of your life. And they don't need to take over your life. They don't need to become your life. But a good, healthy life should include exercise, should have mandatory eating real food, making sleep a priority. That's when you start seeing the results, and that's when you start feeling the best. Again, inside and outside. You feel good inside and you look great outside. So making it mandatory, making it a priority in your life is going to help you lead to it. Because just think, the brushing your teeth has been mandatory. You don't even think about that. You get up, brush your teeth, go to bed, brush your teeth. You get up, go to work. You don't even think about it. It's like, yeah, you complain all the time because, oh, I hate my job, and that's a whole other issue. Go get the job that you want, or start a side gig or whatever. Start something you like while even though you hate your job. Been there. I hated my job. I got laid off and kind of pursued something I want to do. And am I making near as much money? No. I'm happier, even though I'm poorer, and things like that. But I know it's constant growth. It's the journey, and that's part of it. That's a big part of it too. Is that making it mandatory? You're just worrying about the results and not looking forward to the journey. Fall in love with the journey, the process of getting there, the work, the exercise. That is a lot of the work. It's the training. It's the movement, and once it starts becoming that habit, it's like it's becoming second nature. You don't even really think about it. It's like I'll gladly not do any other things if I got to get my training in. Like there are certain things that, yes, I can adjust my schedule around, like family stuff or whatnot. It is more important than training, but training is mandatory in my life. I don't skip it. Does that mean I do it I never miss a workout or a training session? No, I've done that or have to cut something short. Yeah, that happens from time to time. But I rarely ever have a day where I don't do anything, just because I know how much better I feel. If I don't do anything, I just feel like crap and feels like, oh, I actually feel like my age. I feel 36, rather than actually now that I feel better than when I did in my 20s, because exercise and training wasn't mandatory for me back then. I didn't prioritize my health. I prioritized being a degenerate, destroying my body, and being fat and unhappy. That's what I prioritize. Now I prioritize being lean and mean, and not mean, like I'm a pretty nice guy, I think. Being lean and healthy and being a constant work in progress. Am I perfect? Nope. No one's ever gonna be perfect, and that's totally fine. That's what we're working towards. We strive for perfection, knowing that we're not gonna get it. And that's a whole part of the journey. But if you really struggle with consistency, if you struggle to see results and get what you want out of your health journey, and if you really want to be an athlete for life, start making training mandatory. Find something you enjoy too. It doesn't have to be the way I train. Like, I think my training's fun because I like to do a lot of stuff besides just lifting, besides just Sprinting, I sprint, I jump, I throw, I crawl, I roll, I tumble. I play games, I make up games, I do dumb stuff that looks really dumb, but it's fun and I like failing and I like seeing myself mess up. I'm not worried about getting embarrassed. I really don't care about that anymore. But a lot of people think training has to just be like powerlifting or bodybuilding, CrossFit. That's not my style. That stuff's kind of boring to me, especially when they only have just one goal. Like powerlifters, they're just big and fat, and they're strong. They don't even have power. It's just strength. Bodybuilding is just building for the looks and trying to get a pump and wearing a lot of fake tanning stuff and looking really weird and gross in a man thong. Or CrossFit, I've done that type of stuff, and that's just go, 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 go. A lot of lightweight for a lot of high reps and weird stuff. Group classes, that's not my thing, but if these things are your thing, great, use them. Be consistent with them. Make it mandatory that you're not skipping. It's not, as I mentioned, you show up to one group class every couple of weeks and think, oh, that's exercise. Yeah, that's very inconsistent exercise, and you have other things that take over. Whereas, no, I'm going to find a way to get this in, and maybe that means you're typically, let's say you typically, I have an hour where I train good intensity, higher intensity, like 3 days a week, where I strength train or sprint and that type of stuff. Train like an athlete, like I do, like my style. That's great. But what happens? Oh, I have a family emergency. Good. Take care of that family emergency. But you're gonna still find athletes for life find a way to not totally just miss that session. They'll move it to another day. They'll adjust. They'll break it up into smaller sessions. And ultimately, if you miss it, you miss it. That's fine. But the problem with you guys who are complaining about the results and not getting results is because you want it tomorrow. You think it's a 30-day thing, and you think if you miss one session, then it's like, oh, I'm done. I can't do anything else. No. It's people who are consistent. They know, oh, yeah, so if you do miss a session or you don't train for a day, you just say, well, that's fine. I had other important things I had to get done. My family needed me or whatever it may be. Had to travel, whatever it may be. Life happens. That's great. That's no problem. But we just move on. We just, on to the next one. It's that type of thing, that way of thinking. Whereas the people who aren't making progress are the ones who aren't consistent because it's not mandatory, because they just skip things for the sake of skipping. And then if they do miss one, it's like, I'll start again next week. And that turns into next month or the next year. And they don't do it for the long run. If they want the New Year's resolutions coming up, here we go. February comes around, then I'm back to normal. No, this isn't a week. This isn't one class a day or one class a month. It is weeks combined with months, on top of months, on top of years, on top of years. And you do this for year and year and year and year and year and year for the rest of your life. That's what it is. That's what it's all about. That's what building an athlete for life actually is. And it's that consistency over that time, that long period of time. All the marketing people tell you, you got, even like the people I work with and see for my business, you got to market these short-term things. And yeah, short-term thing, yeah, you can get some results in short-term. But it's ultimately, my whole thing and philosophy is about building long-lasting results and building these habits that are going to last the rest of your life. And can we get you to lose 5 pounds in a month or a couple months? Yeah, we can do that. But we want that to stay off. We want that to turn into muscle or whatnot. We want you to build these habits so you don't have to work with me. So you can maintain this healthy lifestyle. And it doesn't seem like a burden. It just becomes life. You're making good choices based on these habits that you've built and the actions, and that it's a reward and not a punishment. And making training mandatory, exercise mandatory, that is a reward. You're rewarding your body, giving it what it needs, what it wants, and providing it that movement stimulus or sprinting stimulus or squatting stimulus, whatever that stimulus is for that session that day, and you're doing it over and over and over and over again for years and years and years and years, not just a couple days. But again, if you want to ultimately be an athlete for life, you have to start making exercise and training mandatory. Again, no one exercise is mandatory, no movement is mandatory. Although I think sprinting should be mandatory for pretty much everyone. I think you should do some sort of heavy lifting. That could be machines, it could be weights, it could be dumbbells, kettlebells, whatever. Again, find something you enjoy. Because if you enjoy things, you're going to work harder at it. That's going to help you make it more consistent. And that's going to help you make it mandatory. If you enjoy it, it's like, oh man, I get to get up. I get to go sprint this morning. I get to go throw some heavy weights around. I get to go move my body and bend and try and challenge myself and try and make my back bendable. That's one of my goals, is to make my back bendable, and those types of things, and have fun with it and challenge yourself. Because again, fun, challenging, you're going to work harder, you're going to stick with it more, and again, you're going to look forward to those things. If you look forward to it, it makes it a lot easier to be mandatory than something you just dread doing. So that's my thoughts there, guys. Hopefully that helps. Again, no specific exercise is mandatory, but exercise needs to be mandatory if you want to be an athlete for life. So that's what I have for you today. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again soon.